Welcome to All Computery Tutorials. Today we're going to be talking about Java generics. The best analogy that I can come up with for Java generics are those shaped toys they used to let you play with when you were a kid. At least I had them when I was a kid. And the idea was that you had a box or a ball of some kind, and it had shaped openings in the side of it. So star-shaped openings and cube-shaped openings and circular openings and such. And then you had star and cube and cube shapes and circles, or spheres, I guess, that you could try and fit through those shapes, and you had to learn to fit the star shape through the star shape and the cube shape through the cube shape. And generics are the same idea, where you take an object that can hold anything, and then you slap kind of a shape filter on top of it. The reason this is a really good idea in Java is because if you start with just an array list and or any kind of a collection, and you don't have any generics on it, you could have anything in there. It's the same idea as if you have an open top box. You can drop, you can drop a football, and you can drop a basketball, and then you can drop a snake in it, and you don't really know what you're going to wind up pulling out. So generics are the idea of slapping a shape filter on top of just an open box that you can control what goes into and out of it. So let's look at an example of an array list without generics. So I'm creating a new array list, calling it list, and then I'm adding three things to it: a string, an integer, and a boolean, and then I am printing it out. And if I run this program right now, it prints out fine. I get my array with my string, my integer, and my boolean. As you can see, though, I'm already getting compiler warnings. That's what those yellow lines are. If I click on one, it should tell me that I'm using a raw type, which is the same as Java's way of telling you that you're using something that should use generics and not using generics on it. So if I go ahead and add some generics, which you do by opening an angle brace like that, and then you type the type that you would like for that array list to hold, and I'm going to do it on both my declaration and my instantiation here. And now you'll notice that those compiler warnings have gone away, and now I'm actually getting compiler errors when I try to add my integer and my boolean. The string still works fine because that's acceptable. But the integer and the boolean are no longer fitting through our little shape filter that we've got on top of our array list at this point. But if I add toString to both of these, toString is obviously a method that returns a string. So now instead of trying to add the actual boolean, I'm adding strings that represent the boolean and the integer, and so that works fine. Now if I run it, I get the exact same output. Hello world, 5, and true. So why should you care? As you can see here, I've jumped back to the example where our array list is not using generics, and then I've added some extra code right here. It's just a loop that runs through the length of the array and then goes in and tries to print out whatever index of the array we're at, and then prints out the first character of that object that we've just returned. And I went ahead and cleared my output because I already ran this example for my own knowledge, just to make sure that it was going to work for you guys. And as you can see, I also had to cast this from being an object into a string, and that's obviously part of the unsafe structure here. So let's see what happens when we run this. It gets to the first object, which is our hello world, and it prints out H because that's the first character. And then it gets an exception, class cast exception, Java integer cannot be cast into Java lang string. The reason that happened is because obviously you can't turn an integer into a string. There's no way to do that. So this is why you should care about generics, because if you don't, when you're running through an array list or a set or any other kind of a collection, you can run into a lot of issues, and you can get into a lot of very sticky situations not knowing what's actually going to come back out of that object. Thank you for watching. I hope you understand generics a little better now. This has been a screencast version of an entry that I've got out on my blog, allcomputery.blogspot.com. Go ahead and check it out if you want to see some other great tutorials. I've got quite a bit of stuff out there. Thanks for watching.